Hello, I'm Erica Thurman again. Normally I don't post a video so close together, but I think it's necessary this time just because, well, I want to tell you all something. I want to talk a little bit about depression and how it can really affect someone's life. You see, I deal with depression every day. It's not easy for me. You know, there are some days that are better than others. But you know what gets me through it? One, having some really good friends in my life, like Kyler and Dustin. And reminding myself that I do have a lot to be grateful for. One, I have my job. I've got my health. And I like to think I've got some promising things ahead for myself as far as the future is concerned. You see, as I said before, I've always dealt with depression. I didn't deal with it it wasn't as bad years back because, one, I didn't even realize I was depressed because I had gotten so used to suppressing my loneliness, my my fear of being rejected and tossed aside. Because you see, when I was in high school, deep down I really knew who I was, but I was so afraid to express that and to accept that because I I knew the realities, especially at that time in that school when the tolerance was not as well accepted. I was afraid that I was going to get beaten, if not worse. So I kept it to myself. At first I thought, again, I was just a gay man having to be more feminine, but deep down I think I really did know who I was, but I was just so terrified to come out because I had feared that I was going to get severely hurt. And I was already getting so tormented and harassed already that I thought if I gave them more to feed on, it would just make it a lot worse. You know, sometimes at one point, this was after high school, years ahead, my depression had gotten so bad that I had to see a counselor. I still see a counselor for my depression, which is a good thing because I like to think I've taken ownership of it. And, but it had, one point had gotten so bad that I had thought about taking more drastic measures to cure it. Drastic, I mean by ending it all. It's hard to imagine that I would ever get to a point where I thought about maybe even remotely doing that. But my counselor and a few good friends scared me back into lying. It saved me. That's what depression can do to you if you don't take care of it. It can take you down, and if not, it could end your life. But you have to be strong. You have to take ownership of it. You have to control it. For a while, I took medication for it. I didn't want to, but it had gotten so bad, and I had very little control over it. It was either that or the alternative, so I thought taking the medication was the lesser of the two evils. I had a tough choice to make. It was either that or the other, and I chose medication. And I took it for about a year or so. Then I noticed I was feeling much better, a lot more secure and stable and happy. So I decided, well, Erica, you need to see what you can do, how you can manage without the medication now. You know, my doctor said there was a possibility I have to take that for the rest of my life, and I didn't like the sound of that. I thought, you know what, it's not good to be dependent on drugs. And I wanted to teach myself how to control it on my own without the help of medication. I thought that was the healthiest way of doing it. But once the medication kind of, you could say, stabilized me, I gradually wrung myself off, and I noticed that, you know, I can do it. I just have to keep myself motivated, myself busy, and positive. Positive energy can be the greatest medicine. One, it's completely natural and it doesn't cost you anything. All you have to do is just think. If you try to think positive about something, whether it were to be anything, it could be something small, it could be something big, it could be anything, you'd be surprised on how it can help when you're dealing with depression. You start to realize that, you know what, it doesn't have control over me. I control it. That's how you get through depression, is by the power of the mind. Positive energy, thinking of other, just thinking and trying to center, I guess you could say, yourself, trying to look at the big picture, so to speak, and trying to realize that you're not the only one. You're not alone. You know, there are times when it feels that way. You see, when I'm at Kyler's and Dustin's house, I'm not really depressed. I'm very happy and I feel motivated when I'm there, and I feel safe when I'm there, and I enjoy being around their company. You know, sometimes I guess I feel like I overstay my welcome. I mean, they haven't said that to me, and I don't think they care either way, but I guess I do have a tendency to be socially conscious, maybe too much for my own good. But they've always been there for me when I needed them. And that means so much to me. I have a tendency to get dependent on things. Which can be okay depending on how dependent you truly are. It's important to also be independent too. And I like to think I'm a much more independent person. And I'll be even more independent once I get my own place. I really see that happening this year. I don't know exactly how it's going to happen, But I really see it happening. With hope and faith and positive energy out there, I think it will happen. I still feel kind of sad today. Maybe it's because I'm still at this house and a little trapped. It seems like when I'm outside the house, I'm much better. There's just a lot for me to say. There's a lot for me to say. I feel like I have a lot to talk about. I think that's one reason why I do these YouTube videos, is so that whoever is listening could hopefully take something out of it. And it makes me feel better. Just saying it, saying how I feel or what's going inside my mind verbally, it helps me to get through things. And I think that's healthy. I'm going to be doing something a little out of my comfort zone, which I think will be, in a good way, hopefully, life-changing. My friend Dustin and Kyler invited me to go on to what is called a meditation retreat. Now, I've never done anything like this before. I'm familiar with meditation, but there are many different forms of meditation, and this one seems very intriguing. It's a 10-day meditation retreat. Seems like it's out in a very beautiful area and part of the state. It's going to be in July, so I got plenty of time to prepare. I'm actually looking forward to it for some reason. Somehow it feels right for me to go. I just hope whatever happens to me there will help lift me up even more. I'm really looking forward to it. I'm scared at the same time, but excited. And I think just having Dustin and Kyler there will make it a lot more easier, because then there's that familiar and friendly presence there. And that brings me a lot of comfort. I think also another reason why I deal with depression is because that I am trying to accept more of myself and take ownership. Trying to be the woman that I'm meant to be. And it's not easy. Sometimes I feel like when I get closer and closer, I end up taking a few steps back, but I suppose that's part of the journey. It's part of this whole process. This week, I'm going to finally start doing my homework, which unfortunately I've been kind of procrastinating on a little bit. Because, I'm a little scared. But I know if I'm ever going to take the next step in accepting more of myself, I have to break more out of my comfort zone. So I'm going to try to find myself a doctor that is well-versed in people who are transgender, and look into going back to school. I'm not 100% sure of what I want to go back to school for, but I feel like I need to. I'm not sure